All right, so we have our three featured poets, Strawberry, Jam-n-Jaq, and Talor Iman. Strawberry, what are you going to start us out with tonight?
Poetry ain't always pretty. You don't have to be pretty to be a poet. You see, Maybelline can't make up for that which I've been through, and CoverGirl can't cover up what you think of me or I of you or how I write it down. The tears of my soul will streak this makeup of a clown, so no matter how tight my jeans get or how high my skirt, you can't get into the rhymes of my mind unless I flirt with yours. See, body language speaks much, but what does your mind say? What sport do you play? Why don't you all join me in the Summer Olympics? See, some are words of expression in which I've won gold. Some are words of regression that I know I'm too old for. Some are words of depression where silver's my crown. Some are words to uplift me when you try to bring me down. Some are words with one syllable, two spellings, three meanings, four inferences, five implications, six demonstrations, seven motivations, and eight frustrations, used 9 different times with 10 different rhymes and never any complications, because it doesn't have to be pretty. See, the art of alliteration is not an attribute of the attractive, so if my thoughts are unclear, it'll take more than proactive to smooth out the bumps and extract the dirts and oils as I toil before my notebook with my ballpoint rollerboard, with my felt tip rollerball ballpoint, dry erase permanent mechanical number 2 tesserated pencil, because it still ain't pretty. See, the unfair fashion of spoken word is not to be seen, but you got to be heard. So if I'm fat, let me be that. I got something to say. If my clothes don't match, it shouldn't get in your way. If my braids ain't tight or my tracks are showing, don't say it ain't right, because you'll miss out on my flow. And maybe I just had a bad hair day that day. Is that okay? Because you don't have to be pretty to be a poet. If I'm skinny, there's just more space for my words to slide through the most narrow crevices of your mind. And if I'm short, don't expect me to use 3- and 4-letter words all the time. You see, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but if your beholding eye is blind, then you can't hold what be in me unless you hear my mind. That's why I wear baggy clothes sometimes, to help you concentrate on my rhymes. I went and bought jeans with big pockets in them, so I have somebody to keep my rhythm. I wear Chuck Taylor All-Stars, so if you miss it, I can run 3 pages back and go get it. I keep extra brand Polar Ice gum between my teeth so my mouth don't go dry when I spit it. Now I gotta go, but I want you to know that when I flow, it's not for show, it's more for tell, so you can dispel the thoughts of hell that try to beat down your cerebral doors. There's so much more in store for all of us. So be sure that when you see me, hear me, and know that if you have something to say, don't let image get in your way. Just declare carpe diem and seize the day, because you don't have to be pretty to be a poet.
Jam-n-Jaq, what do you have for us?
Why I write. I write when I am overwhelmed and my voice isn't working, but I have things that I need to say. It's always been that way. When all the thoughts and emotions are swarming like bees around the hive, it's why I'm still alive. When life gave me lemons and the skies turned gray, when the sun refused to shine, I simply have to empty my mind. I don't write to impress or because it's fashionable. I write because it is all left for me to do. I write myself back to peace. Oh, what a sweet healing release. See, I found that talking fades over time. But when I put pen to paper, no one, no topic should feel safe. I can write words that I cannot say. I can write without judgment. I can write truth, my truth indeed. When tears are flowing and wounds seep and bleed. When I hear or feel the swarming and feel forces I cannot see, I run for pen and paper. Only on paper do I allow myself to be rude. I run for pen and paper and for solitude. I may want to do you bodily harm, but I'm just not violent. I'll get my 9mm and shoot you in the heart. But writing lets me harm you in many ways, just tear you apart. I write to retain my joy and sanity, like music calming the beast. I write to clear my soul. I write to recover and to remain whole. I write when life is so good, too good, and there is nothing I can say to describe my euphoria, my elation. Sometimes my writings are self-flagellations. Take an arm, a leg, or any other appendage. Just let me keep the ability to write, and I and my life will be all right. I write when I prayed and God hasn't moved yet. I write so that I won't forget. I write from my heart and mind. I write from my innermost being, and it cleanses and resets all my parameters from my traumatized soul. I write to press forward towards my goals. I write, I inhale, I write, I exhale. I skirt the outskirts of hell. So when you are asking yourself, what made her write that? What was she going through? Just know that she was thinking of self and not of you.
All right.
Talor, you have something.
Absolutely. Success is in the follow-up. Reaching back out, the details, the decency to not leave the water running. Stuff like that, it really gets me bottled up. I get real swole. It's hard for me to swallow up. I really shouldn't get my hopes up or get my panties in a bunch because you don't know how to love. Yeah, I said it, you don't know how to love. Love is reciprocal. It does not mean you just do what you want. Love is give and take. I do for you, you do for me. Not a one-sided dinner date. How dare you leave me on red, not reply to my email, or ever leave me feeling some type of way? What is the problem with responding to someone else nowadays? I may ask you a question or a favor, you see it, and somehow I never hear from you again. What is it with that? That really irks me. The least you can say is, not right now, or give me some time, almost certainly, but for you to not say anything. Do I not deserve that decency as a human being? Everyone deserves respect. It's not entitlement to me. If I'm asking for some decent communication, I know somebody out here can relate. Success is in a follow-up, which means it's okay. It's really okay to actually respond, even if it's not what I want. Say something. Let's practice more respect. I rest my case.
Well said. That's a poem that, so much. Yeah. Michelle, do you have another one? Strawberry?
That's fine, you gave it away, but that's okay. Yes, I have Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo.
Is that in one of the Rhyme & Chat books?
Yes, in the latest one.
Nice.
It's easier that way.
We could plug that, huh?
Plug. Okay. Tom is not my name. I am the little girl who plays quietly on my mother's front yard. Old ladies look sadly at me and call me Tom. They shake their heads in disgust. Some even laugh. Who is Tom? Tom is not my name. There aren't even any boys on my street named Tom. I play with all the children in my neighborhood. I should know there aren't any Toms except me, but that's really not my name. I never met any girls named Tom. Why do they call me that? What does that mean? Why are adults so mean? My sister is allergic to grass and all outdoors. My brother is yet too young. I have been chosen to mow the lawn because the chores still need to be done. And the old ladies say that my boobs won't grow if I cut the grass or shovel snow, but all their breasts hang down real low, and I don't want to look like that when I get old. I'll be okay with what I got. I like to wear pretty dresses and heels on special occasions, but my mom bought me flat-bottom shoes. She said, "You're Tom. Toms can't walk in heels." And they shouldn't. Toms are boys. Boys don't wear heels. Anyway, it's just walking. It's not difficult. My friend's mom lets me wear her heels all the time. She says I look good in them, but she knows my real name, and it's not Tom. I'm good at games and sports. I can run really fast. I like football best. I'm even better than some of the boys, and I can score on most of them, but some of them I let tackle me. The boys don't tackle me the way they tackle each other. It's actually kind of fun. And it's all part of the game, a game that Tom didn't teach me to play. I still don't know who Tom is. When I play with the other girls, we jump double dutch and talk about our futures. We get color swatches of paint and fabric and dream about houses, children, and husbands. My husband and kids were never named Tom. When I got older, I didn't go to prom. It was pointless to spend extra money on a dress that's not a wedding gown that I would only wear one time. And my mom still thinks Tom was the reason. And I choose not to wear makeup because in my mind it's a waste of time to make myself unnatural for some man to say I'm fine. And will he still think I'm fine when I wash it off and reveal the ruined skin that looks old before my time and is thinned out in bruises at the drop of a dime? Being fake has never been an attribute of mine, and Tom has never been my name. You have labeled me as something that I'm not, I was not, nor will ever be. You introduce me as if I'm not normal. Perhaps you're not normal to me. Your perception of me is not what I see. I live comfortably in truth and reality where judgment does not reside. And I'm not afraid. I won't hide who I am, and who I am is not Tom. Where did the randomness of Tom come from? Why has he been chosen to rename me? And if I walked a different path, would you still claim me, or would you shame me for living alternatively? I know who I am. I am strong, I am intelligent, I'm alive. I'm natural, I'm feminine, I'm sexy, I am beauty, I am love, I am free, I am me. I am strawberry. I am not Tom. Do you know who you are?
Are you going to do the song with this one?
Mm-hmm. Okay. How'd I do that? Let's see. Just make sure it's low. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to make it play.
Get Macy's lowest prices of the season now, like summer-ready dresses starting at $39.99.
No. Oh, no, no.
Wrong song?
Yeah.
Yes. You need to.
There we go. It's on. This is entitled Steady Love. You know what I need? I need love, a steady love. So I'm planting that seed. I need a steady love that is present and accounted for, one that in troubling time doesn't run for the door and isn't afraid to say it's mine. I need a steady love that represents me at all times. I need a steady love that wraps me in a safe cocoon, a steady love I can rest in, and I need it soon. I need a steady love that holds my heart as well as my hand, one that beside and for me is willing to stand. I need a steady love that accepts me fully, flaws and all, a steady love that is willing and able to stand tall. I need a steady love that thoughtfully compliments me often, and one that my rough edges is willing to soften. I need to know that it belongs only to me. I need one that is holy and blessed by God, my supreme deity. I need a steady love that is prepared for life's storms and has a sturdy tiller. I need it when I am lacking, to step in and shout, I'm here to fill her. I need that steady kind of love that sits back and watches for opportunities, to step up and be my shield and armor and doesn't give a dang about sensibilities. Steady love, whole love, completely immersed in healthy interactions, one that is so much more than parts, pieces, and fractions. I needed to envelop my whole being, my heart and soul, and just hold on. I needed to vow an oath to stay, with staying power, and to never be gone. I needed to be more than what I want and everything I need. A steady love, my voracious mental, spiritual, and sexual appetites to feed. I need a steady love that caresses not just my body, but also my mind, that wraps strong arms around me and my sexuality helps me define. One that dips deeply into my dark chocolate honey pot and drinks and slurps and laps from all that I've got. One that tastes and comes back for a second plate and recognizes every part of me to love and nothing to hate. I'm ready to watch it thrive with my waterings and to see it grow. I need it to be a certainty, something that I and everyone else just knows. I'm looking for a steady, wholesome, enduring love, one blessed from above. I'm looking for that steady love that can't be shaken loose, ain't going nowhere, just staying, replenishing me, filling me up. I just need a steady love to forever and always be there. Y'all can have those one-night stands and fly-by-nights. I want a steady love that takes all that is wrong and makes it right. See, my love and loving is special, a treasure to behold. So I need someone steady that recognizes it's pure gold. I need that steady love that transports me from mortal earth to the heavenly and majestic sky. One that holds me, keeps me, and nourishes me snugly until the day I die.
He's a king.
Wow, fantastic. Talor Iman.
All right. What's the definition of a bad show? Do I completely bomb it, forget the lyrics, stutter, try too hard to hit that high note? As a performer, we're going to have at least one bad show. It's inevitable. It comes with the balance of life, some highs and some lows. With the highs, we glide, we slide. Good news got us feeling lucky, feeling all right. With the lows, we get slow, but so quick to let our emotions get the best of us, depressed and wanting to let go. But we don't. We are resilient people. We bounce back when the tide is high. Like Wayne Wonder, there's no letting go. Eventually, you come out, you always do. Don't you ever fix your mouth to say that there is no hope. My brother, my sister, you got it going on. Remember that it wasn't always like this, so just get through it and let the good times roll. Coming soon, like the trailer for your favorite movie or TV show, the sun will come out tomorrow. Or should I say the sun will come out tomorrow? Let me see that great, big, beautiful smile. It doesn't even cost $1 to borrow. Happiness and joy is on the other side of this temporary sorrow. Choose joy. Because like the old saying, trouble don't last always, oh no. And with these 4 words, this too shall pass. May they always rest deep within your soul. Keep going, my friend. There is so much more still worth fighting for.
Thanks. So we're going to have a little discussion now, and I wanted to ask a couple questions. This is to all of you. You can take turns answering, though. When did you first start writing? Do you remember the first poem you wrote? But when did you become your current poetic self? When did you really start taking writing seriously? What prompted that?
The first poem I kept, I was 13. And I'm old now, so that's a lot of years in between. But it was a way to release for me. It was just, I was a band geek in school and, kind of a nerd. And I wasn't like the most popular person running around. I wasn't one of the cool kids, So I just wrote to release most of the time. I mean, I had friends, but I wrote to release. That was really what it was.
And then, when did you join Rhyme and Chat and start writing more? I mean, maybe you always did, from age 13 on, have you always been writing?
Yeah, I've been writing pretty steadily from age 13. When I moved to Chattanooga, I'm not from here, I'm from New Jersey, and I've been in a couple other places when I was in the Marine Corps and such, but when I moved down here permanently, it was about 24 years ago, I joined Rhyme and Chat, like a year after I got here.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been with Rhyme and Chat right at 20 years now, 23 years, somewhere in there.
Cool.
I joined when Mr. Walt was still alive. I don't know if you ever heard of Walt Barker, but he was one of the founding members, and he's since passed on. But yeah, I joined way back then.
Okay. Jackie.
I think I was 4 the first time I wrote a poem, and
Really?
as Strawberry Shed said, it was a release. I was experiencing some childhood trauma, and I've written my whole life. I think when I was 14 was the first time I shared, and I didn't share again until early 90s. Through a church association. And I originally joined Rhyme and Chatt when it first started. And then when I went to work at the nuclear plant, with all those outages planned and forced and all of that, didn't have time. So, but I've always written. I haven't always shared, but I've always written. That's how I've gotten by, that and prayer.
That's good.
Wow, very interesting. Taylor.
I don't remember the first poem I wrote, but I guess I've been writing since grade school. I had a fun fact. I actually published when I was like 9. I went to Battle Academy right up here, and they put us in a collective book of poems, a collective work, and I guess that was like 2002, and then 2002 we had the reboot book collection of poems. So it was like, wow, 20 years later, I'm still at it.
Sweet. Nice story. Sounds like all of you have, it kind of runs pretty deep. So, Strawberry,
Sir.
when you hear poems, what is it that you think is a good poem, a fantastic poem? And is there any artist, poet that you think emulates that?
You've just opened up a huge arsenal. There's so many poets out there that I really enjoy, both local and quote-unquote famous. My personal inspirations were Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou type poetry, William Shakespeare, Stevie Wonder. Marvin Gaye, those are, I mean, and they're poets. You know, a lot of times people dismiss songwriters, you know. I mean, people laugh at me when I tell them I'm a Taylor Swift fan. She's a phenomenal writer. She's got an average voice, but her lyrics are phenomenal. You know what I mean? You know, if you ever listen to some of Taylor Swift's stuff, it's amazing for somebody so young. But something that just really, I can't call anybody's poetry bad because it's what comes out of them. So good poetry is any poetry for me. If it came out of you, it's something that you felt, and it's good. It may not be my style. It may not inspire me, so to speak, but I respect it. And that's my take on poetry in general.
Nice. That's generous. That'd help us all to just be welcoming of every poet like that.
Yeah.
Jackie, what do you look for in poetry? And same question.
I think poetry, however it's stated, it doesn't always rhyme. I think poetry that is real, that touches, that's the best kind of poetry. And that could be like your thing on the Woodmore thing. Nothing fancy about it, nothing pretty about it. But because it's, what you talked about is so universal, it has to resonate within people. It has to resonate, and I think that's important. And she was naming all the singers, the songwriters, they're all poets. So I can't name a best one. I listen for the story. It doesn't have to be my story. I listen for the story.
You know, what you mentioned, universal, that is kind of the key to art, is because all these stories, there's something about life that's universal, our experience, our human experiences. And
everyone has lost someone they loved. So when someone writes about that, especially post-COVID, at least it's more known, when someone writes about attempting suicide or losing a friend to suicide, everybody can identify with that now. You know what I'm saying? Whereas when I was young, you didn't talk about stuff like that.
Nope.
So those things that are life experiences, they're all beautiful. However, they feel it. I recognize from my trauma that being able to write is so healing. So no matter what they're writing about, that's their story. And if it gets them through something, it's beautiful.
Nice, thanks. Taylor, what do you think?
Well said. I believe it's really just whatever comes from the heart, no matter how simple or complex it may be. That's it.
Okay. So my last question is, why poetry? A lot of people could express these things in an essay or a story, but what is it about poetry that you love? If you could have written the same thing in an essay and say, well, let me tell you about identity of a tomboy, and here's the a lecture or sermon or something, but you put it in a poem. Why a poem?
The poetry for me is just how it comes out. A lot of times, I've written essays, I've written short stories. I write just random thoughts that aren't necessarily typically poetic, so to speak, but there's a certain flow with poetry, a certain stream of consciousness that comes out of poetry that doesn't necessarily, with an essay, you have to understand your audience. With a poem, the audience is attempting to understand you. That's the difference for me.
Sweet. Jackie, what do you think?
The poetic piece allows me to be a little bit more creative. And some of the things that I have written poems about, I actually have written journal entries or short stories. So it can go either way. She spoke of the flow. There is a flow. And since I've been writing for so many years, that's how I like to express myself. That's what I choose.
That's why we love poetry. And Taylor, what would you say to that question?
Yeah, it's just the creativity of it all. It's the flow, it's the freestyle, it's whatever you want it to be. It can be short, it can be long, it can be deep, it can be shallow. It's yours. That's what makes it more freeing than a just regular old boring essay.
I like to play with the words a lot.
What's that?
So I like to play with words a lot.
Yeah, the wordplay.
And find other ways of saying certain things.
That's right.
And a lot of times poetry gives you that freedom to do that.
I think with poetry, a lot of times you use different elements. And in a poem, you can personify something that if you wrote it in prose, just wouldn't make sense.
Right. The words become the characters rather than creating separate characters.
Anything last thought on that, Taylor? Anyone? Well, thank you all. I feel like that was a really cool discussion.
Yeah.
I'm glad we recorded it. And thank you for sharing your hearts with us through words. We're going to do one more poem from each of you in the same order. So go ahead, give us the title of it.
Let me dig up a third one real quick. It's not difficult to find. I just, turn my page real quick.
Do you want me to help adjust the mic a little bit?
Oh, I'm not ready. Look, I'm not ready. I just want to turn the page a little bit. Gotta get to the right page, that's all.
Let me go ahead and do it.
Yeah, you go.
Okay.
While I find mine.
Okay.
Okay, Jackie's going to
I'm
go
going to go
first.
ahead and start while she's looking. And this one is called Broken Pieces. I couldn't understand what was going on with that man. I gave, literally emptied my giving cup, but still couldn't figure what was up. I mean, I gave top shelf stuff, but it was never enough. The more I did for him, for us, just led him to condemn. It was driving me crazy, and God knows I worked it. I was never lazy. When I laid out a 5-star dinner, he ate, but our relationship shrunk and got thinner. When I gave him a massage and a bath, he didn't appreciate and caused more wrath. When I polished his crown, he acted immature and selfish and went off on his own. When we made love, he was selfish, which just caused me to feel devilish. When I tried to communicate, he shut down and wouldn't reciprocate. I gave him things that I can't get back, and there's something intimately wrong with that. I distanced myself from him, but then I let him back in. I brought lingerie, but I still didn't get my way. I did my hair and my nails, but even that failed. I took a deep, serious look inside, but it wasn't me. I had nothing to hide. I got down on my knees and said to God, please, show me what to do. I can't fix this version without you.